We've all heard it a million times, right? Data is the new oil. It's the gold mine of the 21st century. But what if I told you that for most companies, that gold mine isn't just untapped, it's also hiding a pretty serious secret? Okay, so get this for our first surprising truth. A full 60% of organizations say that more than half of their data is dark. And what that means is it's collected, it's stored, and then it's just completely ignored. It's literally just sitting there, taking up space, doing absolutely nothing. And this is where it gets really interesting, because this creates a huge paradox. On the one hand, all that dark data is a potential gold mine, just packed with incredible insights. But on the other hand, it's an active landmine, loaded with security risks and compliance dangers just waiting to go off. So let's dive right into this paradox. What exactly is this mysterious dark data that's lurking in servers all over the world? Well, the formal definition is that it's the information assets organizations collect during business as usual, but then fail to use for any kind of strategic purpose. Think about it. Old employee records, customer service chat logs, raw server data. It's all the stuff that's kept around just in case or for compliance reasons, but it's never, ever actually analyzed. And the scale of this problem is, well, it's just staggering. Like we said, 60% of companies say over half their data is dark. But here's the kicker. For a third of those companies, that number jumps to over 75%. Can you even imagine? 3/4 of your most valuable resource just sitting in the dark, completely wasted. This is probably my favorite analogy for it. It's so perfect. Just like dark matter makes up most of the actual physical universe, but is totally invisible to us, dark data makes up most of a company's information universe. It's there, it's massive, but it's completely unseen and untouched. Okay, so if we have all this potential value, why aren't we using it? Well, that brings us to our second surprising truth, and this one busts a huge myth about what it even means to monetize data in the first place. A lot of executives get pretty nervous when they hear the term data monetization. Their minds immediately jump to selling off customer lists or company secrets to the highest bidder. But the thing is, in reality, that's almost never what it actually means. In the real world, true data monetization follows two main paths. And get this, neither of them involves selling your raw data. The first path is all internal, using your data to make your own operations smarter and way more efficient. And the second is indirect, using that data to improve the products and services you already sell. Let's just take that internal path, for example. The UK retailer Tesco started analyzing data from its thousands and thousands of in-store refrigerators. Now, they didn't sell a single byte of that data. They used it to find tiny inefficiencies. And the result? An expected 20 million euros in energy savings every single year. Now that is pure value, created from data that was, you guessed it, probably once dark. And all this brings us to our next truth, which reveals a fundamental and honestly a kind of absurd disconnect right at the very heart of how we value our businesses. I want you to think about it for just a second. If you had to name your company's single most valuable asset, what would you say? Your brand? Your people? Maybe your technology? Well, here's the shocker. According to generally accepted accounting principles, the rules that everyone follows, your data is not considered an asset at all. It does not show up on your company's balance sheet, not a single line item for it. This quote from a senior military official just says it all, doesn't it? The desks, the chairs, even the toilets in the building have a clearer accounting value than a nation's most critical intelligence data. It's just a massive, massive blind spot. So, and this is the really crucial point. This isn't just some quirky little accounting rule. Because data has no formal value on the books, it's not managed with any formal discipline. And that leads directly to underinvestment, poor governance, and of course, the unchecked growth of all that risky dark data. This financial neglect leads us straight into the fourth, and maybe the most challenging truth of all. The biggest barriers to unlocking the value in your data, they aren't technical. Nope, they are deeply, stubbornly human. It almost always boils down to three cultural roadblocks. First, you've got data hoarding, where different departments guard their information in these isolated silos. Then there's the not my problem culture, where accountability is just non-existent. And maybe the most common one of all, this belief that data is just an IT problem, not a core business strategy. And let's be absolutely crystal clear about this. Those data silos, that whole hoarding culture, that is the factory floor where dark data gets made. When the marketing team's data is dark to the sales team, and the sales team's data is dark to the operations team, you've basically got a company that's flying blind.
All right, so how do we fix this? How do we break down these cultural walls and actually start harnessing all this value? Well, the fifth and final truth involves a really radical shift in how we think about one of the biggest perceived hurdles out there: privacy.
So many people see privacy regulations like GDPR as just another obstacle to monetization. But the smartest companies, they flip this completely on its head. They don't see privacy as a hurdle they have to overcome. They see customer trust as the absolute foundation of a sustainable business model. So when you boil it all down, the ultimate goal here is to transform the entire organization's mindset. It's all about moving away from being a company that fearfully hoards data in dark corners and becoming one that confidently and responsibly harnesses its value for everyone's benefits.
Which leaves us with one final, pretty critical question to think about. If your company's most valuable resource doesn't even appear on the balance sheet, who is truly accountable for its success?